Hey, welcome back, everybody. It's the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by DEK Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. We are very proud to be part of the Variety Sports Network. And I'm also very proud to tell you that we are coming to you live from the Frank Walker Law Studio. And I just want to take a moment. Frank Walker was our very, very first sponsor when we started Steel City Blitz many moons ago. And I reached out to him. He did not even hesitate. He basically said, "Show me what you do." It took me like 2 seconds. He's like, "Yeah, I'm in." And he just is the most charitable person I've dealt with in this industry. And so thank you to Frank, because we love doing this for you guys. We absolutely love it. And we'd probably do it for free if we could, but we do like to spend a little money on it to make it a little bit better. And without
show
our
costs
sponsors,
money.
Yeah, without our sponsors, we can't do it. And so thank you to DEK Roofing, obviously, and certainly Frank Walker Law for all that he and his staff have done for us. So thank you, and great to have them aboard. And I will have better graphics as we go along. I'm still working on those, and Frank knows that. Anyway, hey, it was great to be wrong. Great to be wrong.
All three of you assholes were wrong last week.
Yeah.
I went back and watched it just for posterity this afternoon so I could see how bad it was. You guys really had no belief in the Steelers offense, did you?
No.
As bad as you knew the Bengals defense was, you still didn't believe in it. I don't get it. The Bengals, let me put it to you another way. Let me put this in context. The Bengals are fifth in scoring. They're fifth in scoring. They're scoring 28 points a game, and they're 4-8. That's how fucking bad their defense is. They've scored 33 points or more 4 times. In those games, they are 0-4.
I knew their defense was bad. What I was concerned about going into this game was, number one, would our defense be able to stop their offense? And secondly, I just didn't have faith in that our offense could score enough points. I was proven wrong. I will be gladly proven wrong on that number anytime. We throw up 44 points, I'll be wrong every week. But I did not see that coming at all.
Technically, we had what? Technically, he had 37, and
right.
they had 31.
31.
Yeah. But also, Boz had a field goal blocked, which doesn't happen very often. So
no, that was freaky. That was the thing where I was like, oh fuck. 3 points could make the. I was like, shit.
Same. Yeah.
But then by the same token, when they were up 41-24, I was like, oh yeah, it's over. No, it was not over. It was not fucking over.
No, and it was the type of game where if there was a fifth quarter, I'm not sure we would have won. I mean,
maybe, except that they kept getting Burrow to fumble.
Well, that's also true.
And that really was the difference. Right there is getting Burrow to fumble and getting that scoop and score. That was fantastic. I still, again, after watching it on Hard Knocks, I'm like, how the fuck do you not at minimum call illegal use of hands, the spot of the foul, and bring that touchdown back? I thought it was DPI, but they said the ball wasn't in the air when it happened.
You're talking about Cam Taylor-Britt
first play.
Quarter. Yeah. I understood what the referee said in the pool afterwards, not swimming pool, but in the pool reporters.
I disagree.
Well, no, I do too. He said he was stumbling, and I don't care if he's crawling. You can't within 5 yards put your hands down a guy and drag him down. I don't care what he's doing.
He put one hand on the back of his head and the other one on his back and shoved him down.
To me, it was a no-brainer, but it was what it was, and I don't know. Scarps, what were your preliminary thoughts before we get into the specifics of what took place on Sunday in the home of the Escalooser?
Yeah, I think we all said the Bengals were going to score points, and they did. Whether that was a defensive touchdown or not, but and I can't believe I'm saying this, but credit to Ben, who said before they even started that the Bengals defense was terrible, and
Props.
I actually thought they had gotten better recently, and they actually had. Like they had stopped Derrick Henry. They made necessary stops against the Chargers to put them back. And I know Logan Wilson isn't their whole team, and I do think that hurt them a little bit. But
no doubt,
the biggest thing to me that happened on Sunday was that Russell Wilson took everything that the defense gave him. He was locked in. He knew exactly where to go. He knew exactly where to scramble. And I tell you what, man, and everybody knows I'm a Mason stan, but we have not seen that type of leadership at the helm since Ben. It's that simple. And Mason did a serviceable job last year. He got us to the playoffs, but Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky don't know how to do that. And Russ, even Hard Knocks was sort of, showing some different shots that we don't really get to see or whatever. But down that play to Calvin Austin, that touchdown to Calvin Austin, fuck, I don't know how Russ isn't grinning from ear to ear when he steps up to the line against that defense the other day. And just, this is like I could do this in my sleep. And I made a comment after the game about they're not going to face a defense as bad as this the rest of the way until the season finale, right? Because they play the Bengals again. And of course, a lot of people are like, well, they're not going to face an offense that's this good. And I guess I understand that, but hey, it was a win against a team that was absolutely desperate. They were, and now they're not out of it yet. Don't get me wrong.
They're not officially cooked.
That was their quote. That was essentially their Super Bowl, or that was like a playoff game for them, and we won.
Yeah, we matched them. Ian, what are your preliminary thoughts?
That was a good segue, because I think one of my points that I made on the show last week was my concern that this was the Bengals' basically last chance to get back into the playoff race, and we were going to their field. Mm-hmm. But man, I've seen some bad defensive performances in my lifetime. That had to be one of the worst defenses. They didn't want to tackle, they didn't want to cover, they didn't want to do anything. And after the game, when Russ is like, oh yeah, they've got a really good defensive coordinator and he shows a bunch of different coverage, maybe they show different stuff, but our guys were running wide open, and Ryan's absolutely right. Russ took everything the defense gave him, and even on the plays where he had to improvise, he and Freiermuth just have that ESP thing going on. That the touchdown on the scramble drill, but there was also a third down conversion where he hit Freiermuth earlier in the game, and just a lot of. It's hard to blame anything bad happening on the offense, and I'm not trying to take anything away from what the offense did, saying Cincinnati was terrible, but they were really bad. And even credit to Dan Moore going out there and shutting down Trey Hendrickson, who was leading the league in sacks coming into this game. And after the game he had against Myles Garrett the week before, that was a question mark. And he went out and played very well.
Yeah.
And this sets us up, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, but this game against Cleveland is the biggest game of the year, because there are two distinct directions this team could go afterwards. If they lose to Cleveland, then you're staring down the barrel of Baltimore, Philly, and Kansas City, and that 3-game lead we have right now over Indianapolis for the last wild card spot, considering we lost to them head to head, could evaporate real quickly.
Every game
counter to that.
Let
me finish. Hold on.
Yep.
Yes, but let me finish. Counter to that, not to be totally negative, if we beat Cleveland, regardless of what happens against Philadelphia, we can clinch the division in Baltimore. So this game against Cleveland could send us on two completely different tracks. We win, we have a chance to clinch the division in 2 weeks, regardless of what happens in Philadelphia. We lose, there's a path that could happen that's not too difficult for us to be on the verge of missing the playoffs.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I mean, look, every game, it seems, when you get down to this point, it's December. Every game's big, but Ian, I do see exactly what you're saying, because we've seen teams, especially Steelers teams, do this type of thing before, where one game can send them spiraling, or one game can send them rising. So I will say this team seems to have a bit of resilience to them.
They got a bit of an edge, don't they?
Yeah. And so I'll leave it at that. But Cleveland are they officially out now? 3-9?
They have an outside chance. If they lose this week, they are definitely done. Like, they still could get in if they win out and a bunch of other teams lose a bunch of games.
Yeah. So they win out
mathematically,
8-9. Right?
No, but pretty much they're done.
Yeah. Let's.
I will say to that point about the resiliency. I have been impressed, and I think it really boils down to Russell Wilson, having that leadership in the locker room and on the sideline.
Yeah,
they've gotten behind in the huddle. And even just hearing him talk after the games, before the game, saying, hearing him say after the game, like, well, we haven't accomplished anything yet. This is a good win, but we're still building towards something bigger. And, hearing him before the game, all the clips from Hard Knocks and whatever else of, just saying, hey, stick together every play. We're going out. We're working to build something, stay focused, win every down. Like, that nitty gritty attention to detail is what you need in a leader, but also, going back to what we talked about in the offseason, Russ is an endless optimist. He's always like, things can get better. We can do better. We can, things will be okay. We'll figure it out. And I think that plays really well in the huddle in those situations where you throw a pick six on the first drive of the game and you got to bring your team back against a pretty good offense. It helps keep guys engaged. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan. Yeah.
No, I just, especially for a bunch of young guys on offense or even defense that haven't won anything. And I know I've said that on the show many, many times, but it's true. It's true.
When the quarterback has won, though, it's fucking huge.
It is huge.
That guy being a winner is.
And even Russell Wilson coaching up George Pickens during practice, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, Kenny Pickett pissed his pants even when he looked at George Pickens. There's no way he coached anybody, right? I'm being serious. Like, and then even when Mason got in, like, Deontay Johnson and George Pickens were like complimentary of Mason, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, hold on, what? They were complimentary of Kenny Pickett, but they're complimentary of Mason. So, like, when a guy that's climbed the mountain twice and has successfully done it once, and was literally a horrible play call away from doing it twice, you're right. It means something. And pick six or not, and Russ has thrown plenty of those at his career. It's just like, hey, boys, believe in me. We're gonna right the ship, and we're gonna win this game.
Melvin just brought it up, so I'm gonna expand upon this point. There was a clip in Hard Knocks, which none of you watched the whole thing, so God damn it. Where they were in the huddle, and he brought them all in, and instead of calling the play, he was giving them a speech. He was giving them a pep talk before the fucking play call. And Broderick Jones was like, any other quarterback gets in here, gets the play call out, goes, come on, let's go. Instead, you're giving us a pep talk. I love it. And that it just goes back to what Scarps was just talking about. It's like, this is what these guys need in this moment. So I'm going to provide it. It's that field leadership that this team has lacked, frankly, for a few years since Ben left. And it sucks. When you don't have that guy who knows how to do it at the helm, it sucks.
It was very telling that Tomlin obviously went right to George Pickens after the pick six, and it's kind of like, wait a minute, he didn't throw the pick six, the quarterback did, but Tomlin knows Russ is fine. I got to talk to the young kid, you know.
And I loved him yelling, "Hey, look at me! Look at me! Are you good? All right, I need to know you're good. Okay, all right." Fucking
well, you mentioned the Hard Knocks thing, and I don't want to spend the whole show on it, but especially because Mike Tomlin hates it, and if he hates it, I hate it. But look, I think all four of us. Man. all four of us, especially Ryan, they know who Mike Tomlin is. And I think Alan Saunders made a great point this week on social media saying it's really cool for so many other people to be able to see the Tomlin that we see during practice and stuff. You know, the only time we ever are seen interacting with Mike Tomlin is during the weekly press conference. He knows that we have to be there, and we know that he hates being that, you know, and he's right. And as Ryan's pointed out many times, the Mike you see in those press conferences is not necessarily the Mike you see in the practice field, in the meeting rooms, in the hallways between, meetings or after a game or anything like that. So it's great to see that. But all that said, I'm like Tomlin. I don't want that camera stuff. I don't want the microphones anywhere around me. I want to play football, coach football, but it's the NFL. What the hell are you going to do? I don't know. So George Pickens. Let's start with the finger guns thing. I want to start with that because what happened was he was given a personal foul for it. I immediately thought, holy shit, he's gone. And then I was quickly reminded that this one doesn't fall under the same level, so he's going to remain in the game.
Yeah, it wasn't directed at a player.
Correct. He did it towards the fans or in the air, whatever. Did that, Ryan, did that tell you everything you needed to know that he is now a 100% marked individual by the officials?
No. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing about there's an agenda against the Steelers. There's an agenda against George Pickens. This team is 9-3 and they're on the up. Stop making excuses. George Pickens is not a victim. He can easily just go back to the huddle and not act like an asshole after every time he catches the ball. And I mean this. Yes, Hines talked shit, but he'd smile in your face and walk away. Antonio Brown would talk shit, but the worst Antonio Brown did after a play was he'd hold the ball up and drop it and then walk back. And George Pickens is not half the player that Antonio Brown is. He's not half the player that Hines Ward is. And people keep saying, and I'll say this online, and I try to be as objective as possible. I really do about this team, but I dislike Pickens so much that it interferes. I'm serious.
Yeah. I think it's good that you can admit that.
He is my least favorite Steeler in my lifetime. I don't. In my lifetime, he is my least favorite Steeler.
That's saying something because we've heard some stories.
Yeah, man. I mean, come on. All the shit we've heard.
All the shit we've heard.
From you.
I'm talking
some
about
of it from you.
Yeah, but like
Rashard Mendenhall.
I'm sorry. So let me get back this up. As a fan.
Okay.
As a fan.
Okay. All right.
Can I sorry. So
yes.
So not when I work there. As a fan, as a pure spectator.
Got it. Makes sense.
And
he's frustrating. I get it.
If people keep saying, like if I tweet this and like I'm just being candid with y'all. Like I have trouble looking past that because he is a playmaker and he's probably our best offensive playmaker. But people keep saying like, oh, it is what it is. You have to accept it. No, I don't. I don't have to accept it.
I agree.
And neither does Mike Tomlin or Asiani or Arthur Smith. And like, because you could literally tell him, get your ass back to the huddle after every play. And I'm going to say this. The taunt, I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that because I know what he was doing. He was trying. Hey, listen, he was trying to show dominance. I totally get it.
That was bullshit.
But the whole gun gesture, he literally had two fingers out. He fucking like bang, like don't be stupid, man. Right. And the NFL flat out said that they're cracking down on that shit because didn't TJ Watt get in trouble a couple years ago for doing it?
He threw it up and he did the duck hunt thing.
So don't tell me. So don't tell me that George Pickens is a victim. And I understand Mike Tomlin has balanced every personality that's ever walked through that locker room. But you know what? This shit is going, if they don't reel Pickens in, this shit is going to cost them at some point. And I am stunned that he didn't get tossed the other day.
I'm not.
When going back a few years, maybe even more years, the NFL has always been stringent on weapons-related celebrations. Do you remember Brett Kiesel got a flag for doing a bow and arrow celebration?
It turned that Chargers game around.
Yeah,
yeah,
it did. And so it's not like the NFL's it's a new thing for them to be like, oh, we don't want you doing gun-related stuff. Like, they've been on this for years, and for anyone to not know at this point is stupid. That said,
fucking immature.
Yeah.
And he doesn't pay attention to that shit. He's on the record. Oh, that was before I was in the league. I didn't know that. So he doesn't concern himself with that kind of shit because he wants to be this guy. He's incredibly immature. Yes, he's a marked man, but he's earned it.
Yes, that's how you become a marked man.
100% has earned his reputation.
Yep.
And he is being watched by the referees because he's earned that distinction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's consequences for your own actions, right?
Yes.
So you teach your kids, and they probably know better. They're 11 and younger.
And to give an example that Ben will hate, but I'll give it anyways. Like Grayson Allen at Duke did some dumb stuff, tripped a few players, right? And so the refs always watched him. There was a game he got a technical for like bouncing the ball too hard after a play. Like somebody made a basket and he didn't quite spike the ball off the ground, but bounced it and caught it and they teed him up for it. But it's the same kind of stuff, right? Yeah. When you have a reputation of doing stupid shit, and especially in a game where you already have an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. Yeah. It's not like he came into the game and they were like, oh, you did this gun celebration, right? It was like he already had a penalty on his mark in this game. And with Sean Hockley, which the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Anytime there's a Hockley, there's going to be a ton of flags thrown. Jeez. Like it's just dumb. And now, not only is he not a marked man, but like, has a reputation, right?
He's got a target on his back.
Do dumb stuff. But defensive backs are going to do everything they can to get under his skin continually and to try and get him to do stupid stuff.
Vinny, this is what we were talking about in our own chat during the course of the week, is that he's not only is he a marked man by the refs, he's a marked man by the opposition because they know they can get him to do it again.
I mean, if you're Newsome, you're that meme of the guy just doing this because know you're going to be able to get in his head.
Ian brought it up when we were talking about it the other day. He's probably like, they're probably sitting in team meetings talking about how they can get under his skin and make him do something fucking stupid.
Yep. And the young man is going to have to do this on his own because
he's going to have to grow up because they're going to keep
Mike Tomlin can only get in his ear and his face so much. Broderick Jones, God love him. I thought he was trying to be a leader on Sunday.
Yeah, agreed.
That was pretty nice.
Good for him. All these guys. And at the end of the day, it's you. You're the one that's got to look in the mirror and say, I got to change my behavior here. Because I, as people have said to me all week, that guy's going to cost you a game. And by that, they're just simply meaning he's going to get a dumb 15-yarder in a crucial moment, or he's going to get thrown out. Yeah. And now you're really in trouble, and they're not wrong.
Remember
when
his emotions.
The year they were cracking down on touchdown celebrations, and Antonio Brown got a bunch of penalties, and Le'Veon Bell got a bunch of penalties, and there was a game, I don't remember who it was against, but one of them came off the bench to high five the other one after scoring a touchdown, and they threw a 15-yard flag, and we had to kick off from farther back, and then the other team got the ball and scored a touchdown, and it was like everybody was ready to kill those two guys after they got that celebration penalty. But it's the same kind of thing, right? It's like it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. He makes a big catch and gets a first down. He gets a 15-yard penalty, and we're still out of field goal range.
Well, perfectly illustrated there, Ian.
I don't want to say that because I'm going to piss people off if I say it. So just
you.
Well, now I want to hear it.
Yeah, me too.
this is just me. Like, I don't think he's great. I think he's decent to good, and I think he could be even better if he wasn't such an idiot. But like, I just like, he, in my opinion, like we are so desperate to win, and I understand why. But like, we like, thanks, Melvin. We attach ourselves to losers, and like the way he behaves is loser. He's a loser. Like it's like a loser mentality. Like he always has to prove that he's better than this or better than that. When it's just like, dude, if you just go out and I mean this, for years I've been saying I would rather have 11 dudes than one dude than one superstar and 10 dudes. And I feel like on defense, that's kind of who they are now, because they have a lot of guys contributing that are just football players. But on offense, it's like they have one playmaker, and it's Pickens, and he knows that, and I think they know that. And yeah, that's great that Russ is spreading the ball around, 10 different receivers the other day. Van Jefferson catching a late, a late ball that helps seal the game.
That should have been a touchdown, man.
Well, yeah,
run straight.
That cutback was stupid.
That too,
just
but like,
run straight, dude. That's all you had to do. That was 6.
That too, but like, I said this the other day. I hope Pickens gets it right, because if he gets it right, it's good for him and it's good for the team. But we could talk about this later on in another show. But like, if you think he's a problem now, wait until he's due.
Making $30 million a
year, or because he's not a free agent until UFA until 2025, the end of next season.
Yeah, we have him for one more year.
But don't you think he's going to be a little bit of a problem this offseason?
Could be.
Maybe.
Could be.
Maybe. I have to temper that point that I agree with one thing. Mike Tomlin handled Antonio Brown pretty fucking well for 9 years. And that guy was a head case. I think in a lot of respects, well, I don't know. I haven't heard anything that bad about Pickens yet.
That is the one positive. Haven't heard anything
as bad about him as I've heard about AB.
Right.
And I haven't heard that he's been late for meetings this year, which he frequently was last year. And in fact, last year missed one meeting altogether without giving anybody a heads up, and probably cost a wide receivers coach's job. Asiani is not shy. He's a fucking prick. So they're going to kind of butt heads a little bit there.
Yeah.
And I think that was what he was hired for, to be perfectly frank. And to Scarp's point about Pickens being decent to good, he's better than that. He's very good. He could be great if he just got his fucking head out of his ass. The kid is extremely talented. Extremely.
Mm-hmm. He does things physically that I haven't seen too many receivers do.
Yeah,
in terms of being able to catch the football.
Needs to get it straight between his ears.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the big thing. As far as other guys that are marked, go ahead, Ian.
No, I was going to say, I was trying to remember the analogy I made in our chat during the game. Did I say that Pickens had Larry Fitzgerald's body with Antonio Brown's brain or something?
It was something like that. Yeah.
But
Larry was bigger.
Larry was bigger, thicker, but I would say that. I don't know how to say that, but I did want to shift across the other side of the ball because the other guy that's marked over there is Joey Porter Jr. Rattel had a good point about wearing the gloves the same color of the opponent's jersey.
He's earned that rep, though, man.
Yeah, it's the same thing. You've now earned it. You're being watched a little heavier,
if you're going to hold low, Jesus Christ, man. People used to get away with that on AB all the time. They grab him low by the hips.
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's what I'll say.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It was, you could kind of tell during the game, but it became kind of very clear after Hard Knocks that Tomlin was very intent about the defense taking Jamar Chase away. Kind of like, we always talked about with Belichick, right? Like he always tried to take one guy away that was like, this guy is not going to beat us. And on Hard Knocks, it was pretty obvious that Tomlin came into this game saying, hey, Jamar Chase is not going to beat us. And we've seen what Chase has done against Kansas City and other teams. Like, he's one of the most dangerous guys in the league with the ball in his hands in space. And Tomlin basically said, we're not going to let this guy beat us, which meant for most of the game, Jackson was on Jamar Chase and Joey Porter Jr. drew T. Higgins, who is a very good receiver, regardless of what Ben said on the show 2 years ago.
He is good. He's good.
Fucking receipts. He said that Deontay Johnson was a better receiver than T. Higgins. And I said,
this was one of the best arguments that we had on this show.
No, it wasn't, because I seem to recall the week after that game, Scarf said to me, "Do you still think he's better?" And I went, "Nope."
Well, at any rate,
we'll get back to Deontay. You deserve so much.
At any rate, T. Higgins is a really damn good receiver and is a big physical guy. And Joey Porter likes to play physical. And we all know we've known this since we drafted him, since before we drafted him. In the pre-draft process, we talked about how handsy he was. But there's some situations too where you just you gotta let go. Like, there was the DPI in the end zone where the ball was over the guy's head and wasn't even catchable, and he tackled him. And then they took him out and put Cam Sutton on Higgins, and Higgins still caught a touchdown pass. It's like, well, Higgins is just really damn good.
I think they're coaching him to do this, though.
Most teams, my broader point though is most teams in the league are not going to have two receivers that are this good.
Yeah.
Right. Even Kansas City doesn't have two receivers that are this good.
Right.
That the one-on-one physical matchup against the Bengals is arguably one of the toughest for a secondary in the league. Jackson played very well, got a pick off a tipped ball, and Porter had a really rough game. But for the most part, Jackson on Chase was a good matchup. And the point we're at now, where Jackson's our essentially number one corner that is going to took Chase away, basically. And if Porter's taken but the number two, that's an okay situation against most teams.
Yeah.
It's just Cincinnati has T. Higgins, which is
Jesus. Jackson had help over top, though.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, though, that they specifically wanted to take Chase out of the game. So it was kind of like, well, whatever Higgins gets against Porter, we're willing to live with because we're taking Chase out of the game.
So they were singling up Joey with the number two receiver, and they were doubling Chase all game long, which I think is what you were saying. But I just wanted to reiterate.
That is what I'm saying. Yes.
So it wasn't just Jackson versus Chase. It was Jackson and Minka, or Jackson and some other safety.
Yeah.
Versus Chase.
Yeah, and I agree with Melvin too. I think he totally panicked in the end zone. And I mean, that's
again. Did you hear what Tomlin said when he was asked about all the penalties that Joey's been getting? When you play Shaq, you use all your fouls.
Yes, and I get that, but I think in that particular thing, he wasn't on Shaq though.
My point is just this:
he was on Craig Elo at that point.
I think they're coaching him to play
the Jordan
like that.
Stopper.
They're coaching him to play like that.
I agree with you, Ben, that they are.
Dude, stop.
Yeah, I agree that they are. I'm just pointing out he wasn't on Chase at that particular time.
I completely agree with you, and I don't know who said he panicked in the end zone, but was it Melvin?
Well, he alluded to that, just about the non-catchable ball, and I'd love to know the rules on that.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, at the time I thought that was non-catchable, but by the same token, the DPI was so egregious that they're going to call it.
Yeah. It was a blatant tackle.
They're looking. Sorry, go ahead. All right, I'm keeping it going then. No, to get back to Pickens, I don't think there's an agenda. But he needs to understand that they're going to be looking, right?
Yeah.
And then same with JPJ because and I keep trying to stress this enough. These games get tighter, they're going to look for everything. And JPJ grabbing all the time. He's going to be flagged all the time.
He's got to learn to do it smarter.
And I said this on the show before the season, and this is probably my best take of the year. I said he was going to hit that second-year wall, and he has. He has. Everybody was crowning him early on. They said, "Oh, he's a shutdown corner. He's as good as Sauce. He's this and that." This dude needs to work on his craft.
He's never
because he is too grabby. And again, as this shit gets tighter and tighter, they're going to be looking at him all the time. And I understand you're not going to be playing T. Higgins every game, but need to work on your hands and being able to get away with it before it's not a penalty.
He needs Matt Smith. You might have a good bet going there.
he needs to keep his hands inside and close to his body, and grab that way if he's going to grab. I mean, all corners grab. If anybody who tells you a corner doesn't grab, they're full of shit. Okay, but Joey does it very obviously. And Rattel brought up the thing with the gloves. You need to take away the white gloves and have them match the jersey they opposing. Maybe you can do that, but when they're wearing fucking orange jerseys,
yeah,
it's difficult. Maybe yellow would be closer to that. I don't know, but he's going to have to be smarter about it. That's it. That's the bottom line.
I have a quick question. Obviously, we know that Joey Porter's father had a pretty decent career, but at a different position. Okay, but yet he knows a lot of people that played the position. All right.
Yeah.
Who would you say is the best former Steelers corner to take Joey Porter Jr. and say, this is where you're going wrong. This is what we got to get right?
Woodson,
Ike Taylor.
See,
I was trying to think of a guy that the
JPJ knows well.
Yeah. I mean, Woodson, obviously, but I was thinking, Ian, I was also thinking Ike Taylor as well.
I've seen clips of Woodson coaching players.
Yeah.
He was a good coach. I don't know why he doesn't. He says that coaches don't like working with Hall of Fame players as coaches because they listen to the Hall of Fame player over the coach.
I get that. I think there's
there might be something to that.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why, after watching him coach players, he's not still coaching someplace.
It was just something that crossed my mind. Scarps, what did you think of the end of the first half, Tomlin's clock management there?
Oh, that was fantastic, wasn't it?
He didn't quite Eberflus it, but almost.
Fucking Christ.
It's funny how that's become an actual verb now.
I was like,
he Eberflused it.
Just take a fucking shot. Just call it. He had 10 seconds left?
Yeah.
If he called a goddamn timeout.
It's but hey, he's never had a losing season, and he looks so cool on Hard Knocks. So I guess I can't say anything bad.
I mean, he made the decision he was going to kick it, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Right. Mike always talks about not living in his fears, and yet he repeatedly does it a lot. Okay. I think Mike is a great coach, and he's going to be in the Hall of Fame one day, but doesn't mean he doesn't have his faults. And for me, clock management and challenges are something that he's really, really struggled in. And it just so happens to be during the same time period that he hasn't won a playoff game. And we see this, we see a challenge or poor clock management. Almost.
That's always been a thing. Even when he was winning Super Bowls, he was always bad at clock management.
Well, he was better at challenges back then, but week in and week out, there's a Tomlin blunder where even non-ball knowers like me or Madden players or armchair quarterbacks sit there and say, hey, shit, I would have called a timeout there. And even all of us could look at each other and be like, yeah, you're right, So,
well, you mentioned living in his fears. Do you think it was more about, okay, if I got 12 seconds left, I've called the timeout and I take a shot and it gets intercepted?
You take one.
Right.
And if it's not there, you throw the ball away.
Exactly. I throw a deep ball, Pickens or Mike Williams.
Not even that. You set it up so you've got a deep ball, but you've got a guy you can throw for a 10-yard out.
obviously.
And if he's there, if neither one of those is there, you throw it away, and you still kick it, right? But I don't know. I agree with you guys. I'm like, at the time, I was like, call a timeout, motherfucking.
Yeah, I also think too that because Cincinnati got the ball first in the second half, right?
No, we did.
No, we okay. My bad.
Yeah.
That was why he kicked it.
There it is.
I think so,
he
too.
He knew points were precious.
Yep.
He knew Boz was probably going to make it, and he knew we were getting the ball in the second half. And, in the grand scheme of things, like, it wasn't the worst call, but, like, again.
Hadn't one already been blocked then, though?
No, that was later. That was the second half.
Third quarter.
Second half?
Again, and I'm gonna repeat this every week until we we get to that point. But as shit gets tighter and tighter, in those situations, you have to take your chances. You have to, because this team is not going to score
in this game. I mean, that's a great offense. We all were worried about that fucking offense. Not their defense. We were worried about their offense.
Yeah.
I was. No, but what are you saying? What did I say, Mark?
No. He and I, we talk every week at halftime, and we were talking.
I wasn't being rude. I was just asking.
No. You're
when
fine.
we were up, when the Steelers were up by 17 in the fourth quarter, I was like, it's over. It's done. It was not fucking.
Even I said it was.
No, I said it wasn't over either.
That offense is
that
good. That offense is that fucking good. They're scary. So I agree.
So
100%. You got to take your chances.
If they're in the same situation and they're at Kansas City or at Buffalo, you got to go for a touchdown there. You can't kick no field goals.
Give it a shot.
Yes,
you
have to
agree 100%.
Give it a shot, and if it doesn't work out, okay, you get 3 instead of 7. But give it a fucking shot. Give yourself a chance.
Yeah. No, I agree. I wanted to mention, somebody mentioned it in the chat. I think it was Rattel, but I'm not positive, and I apologize if it wasn't. Cam Hayward. Mark Cabali has mentioned numerous times that Cam has a file on his phone of all the negative, ugly things people have said about his play.
And he reads it.
And he reads it. It drives him. And, I'm not going to suggest that he's playing like he did a few years ago, but he's playing better than I thought he would.
Hey, Philip, how you doing, man?
Definitely thought that for sure. And he is so damn smart. He knows when he's not going to get to the quarterback, he immediately pulls up and looks to knock down a pass. And Sunday it led to an interception by getting his hand on a ball. And I mean, that just speaks volumes of his leadership and his knowledge of the game. And I mean,
he's a great game.
He's playing well. And I think it's terrific because it could have easily gone the other way coming off the injuries that he had.
Who actually had a great game again this week was TJ Watt, who versus the Browns was fucking invisible. TJ Watt, his stat line was 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, and a forced fumble. That's it. He didn't have any other tackles than those 3 tackles for loss. But 3 tackles for loss and 2 sacks and a forced fumbles, fucking huge.
Well, and I'm glad you brought him up because I didn't have this on the agenda. Highsmith is back this week. And, a lot of fans are like, oh, it doesn't matter. We got Herbig, and everything.
Nah.
I like Nick Herbig a ton.
So do I.
I mean,
fantastic.
I think
he's got a great future.
Oh, my God. He does. But right now, Alex Highsmith, it has to be the starting guy opposite Watt. And Ian, why is that?
Because he can set the edge against the run.
Yeah.
That said, just because Highsmith is back doesn't mean you can't use Herbig in pass rush situations where you want to get a guy coming off the edge. Right. Like you can still use him. Actually, I mean, there's no rule that says you can only play 2 outside linebackers at a time.
Right.
Very true.
There's going to be a 3 outside linebacker set this week.
Yeah.
For sure. 100%.
They could put 3 on the field and kind of see what happens. And they've dropped TJ Watt into coverage on plays before. He had an interception against the Rams last year doing exactly that. So they can still use Herbig in those pass rush situations where he excels, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Right.
But Highsmith is your starter, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it just comes down to, if you go back and you look at some of the bigger runs that teams have had this year when Alex hasn't been on the field, they tend to go that way.
Like those couple big Chase Brown runs that happened this week.
Oh my God. You want to talk about the sea parting? Holy shit.
Fucking brutal.
Wow. Man.
Well, they're really good at spreading out your defense for starters.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job of scheming that.
Makes it so much fucking easier for a running back.
Huge.
When the D's all spread out to begin with, it's just like, well, here we go. There's going to be a hole. Let's just find out where.
I did want to just segue for a brief minute. Vinny Scarp's talking about college football. Bobcats taking on their rival, Miami of Ohio. But I also just wanted to mention that there was another game in Ohio last week. Didn't go so well for
did Toledo play?
Toledo, I think, did play.
Okay.
Not where I was going, Ian, but
was that
some pathetic J.J. McCarthy lookalike at quarterback completed like 6 passes and just knocked off Ohio State. But I'm not going to get into that any further. We'll move along.
Was the coach of the team in the blue and was it blue and maize or blue? What do they call it? Blue.
It's maize.
It's maize.
Blue and was that coach wearing khakis?
The coach on Saturday was not wearing khakis. Sharon.
You probably don't like him though, do you?
No, I'm okay with Sharon. I don't have any agendas against him the way I did against Harbs.
Shut up. You love Coach Khaki. He was your favorite ever.
Anyway, moving on. Is Najee Harris going to get a contract next year from us?
No.
Unfortunately.
Ooh.
No.
Scarps, you think he is?
No, I don't think he is.
Oh, you don't think he is? Okay.
I've changed my tune on Naj, and I've been critical of him, but he's only the 3rd running back in team history. He's well on his way to 1,200 scrimmage yards for his 4th straight season.
Mm-hmm.
Only Franco and the Bus have done that in 4 straight seasons, and he's the only one that has done it his first 4 years in the league. So I don't think he gets a second contract with us, but I will say that I think we should consider it, because if you look at teams this year, you got Green Bay playing tonight. Josh Jacobs is killing it. Derrick Henry's killing it.
Mm-hmm.
And those are just 2 examples. I do think running back.
Those guys went from terrible teams to good teams.
Okay, well, Naj could go from a decent team to a terrible team, or I don't know.
And that's kind of my point.
He could also go to the 49ers.
Yeah, Saquon. Thank you, Matt.
At the end of the day, look, it comes down to math. So, comparable contracts for a guy who's accomplished what Najee has are about $9.5, $10 million a year. And they're going to look at that and go, well, we have a lot invested in our offensive line. And we look at teams that are using guys that are making minimum salaries because they're draft picks and they're having success. Why would we pay this guy $10 million a year? So I don't see it. That's me. I like Najee.
Yeah.
I think he's given his all. I hated him. I hated the pick when they picked him.
Yeah,
I did not like the pick at all. But it was because of the pick. It was the position. It wasn't him.
Yeah, I'm with Rattel.
I'm not.
I want a home run hitter.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't have long speed. He's a power back only who can catch the ball a little bit. That's it.
And so if we want to say that, Jaylen Warren isn't that guy either.
He's not,
in my opinion. So
you're gonna have to draft one.
That's a full reset at running back.
No, you're not. No, it's not. Jalen's an RFA.
Yeah, they can keep Jalen.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, yeah, but I'm talking. But he's not the speed back. So you're right. They have to bring somebody in or draft somebody,
which they're going to do. I think that Jalen is the speed back. He's your scat back, and he's also a guy who can block on third downs. So you having that guy.
I mean, I don't know.
He's your Mewelde Moore, right?
I'll say this.
Remember that
for
guy?
Jalen
Mewelde was awesome. Yes.
Right.
Jalen Warren has the ability to keep his balance better than almost anybody I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It's really
got
uncanny.
A great base.
And I know that doesn't equate to speed and powering, but my God, the number of first downs he's gotten, just being able to spin off a guy and lean one way and go the other. I mean, it's pretty impressive. But to Scarps' point, no, he's not necessarily a home run hitter either.
He did have that big touchdown run against Cleveland last year. Though.
Yeah, he did.
70-some yards.
He definitely has better long speed than Najee, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
He's not a guy. He's not a guy like Saquon that's going to run away from people, and also can be a power back, and also has body control.
So we're looking for Jahmyr Gibbs.
Catch the ball.
We're looking for Gibbs.
Or I mean, maybe we draft a kid from Boise State. I don't know. That kid's gonna be a first rounder.
If we take another first round running back, I might. Myself in the face.
Our buddy Derek is he has been very straightforward. He believes we're taking the kid out of Iowa, and he's a nice back, but to me, he's not much different than Najee, to be real honest.
Yeah, but he's cheaper. He's not $10 million.
Oh, no. I get that. Yeah,
that's
gonna
the
be
point.
Way cheaper. Right.
That's the point. Right. And it comes when I said at the very beginning, it comes down to math. They're going to look at it and go, we have this much in resources. Yep. What can we spend it on? Well, let's pay offensive linemen instead.
Let's also not forget, Najee is going to be 28 next year. He's 27 already, right?
Yeah.
I think.
No, the age thing was something we were concerned about when we drafted him.
When they drafted him, yeah.
No, I mean, I remember
age and mileage.
Yeah,
the number of carries he had at Alabama was high.
Yeah.
And honestly, I thought that when Najee
he's 26 right now. He'll be 27 next year, but still.
Okay. Well, he's
when
still
Najee came into camp this year, he was 223. Down from 241. So I was really hoping to see more burst.
Mm-hmm.
And
it seemed like it was there early in the season.
It's better, but it's not great.
Is
not
Matt Smith, my muse, brought up Gibbs was the first round. Yes, I want a Gibbs. I'll take a Gibbs in the first round. I don't want a Najee in the first round.
You don't want a plotter.
Yeah.
Well, and the kid from Boise State is a better. I think he's a better prospect than Najee was coming out. That said, he probably isn't going to be there at whatever
32.
Yes, Ryan.
Jakes, you owe me a Cokie, and God damn it.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you assholes something, and I'll make a prediction because I'm fucking fucked when this happens, so it's probably going to happen.
Yeah, I have no idea what he just said.
I don't know.
I'm making a prediction based upon the fact that something in my life has happened, and it's going to fuck things up for me on the Super Bowl. I have to travel for work. Shut up.
You're like Mick Jagger, potent.
Shut the fuck up. I have to travel on Super Bowl Sunday for work.
What?
Yes.
What?
I have to be ready to work at 7 a.m. on the Monday after the Super Bowl. So I have to travel to Southern California on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm like, who was the asshole who scheduled this bullshit?
I'm with Matt Smith. You just got to quit, man.
So, yeah, Matt.
If the Steelers are in the Super Bowl.
My buddy told me, he's like, I think you're going to get COVID that week, aren't you? That's a good idea.
My God.
Well, I can't send anybody else is the problem. If I could, I would, but I can't. So I have to fucking go. So I've already decided what I'm doing is I'm taking the earliest flight in the morning so I can get there, get set up, and go to the hotel and be like, oh, no early check-in? Well, here are my bags. Hang on to them. I'll be back after the game. Bye.
Wow, what a conundrum.
But what's going to happen
God.
now, because this happened, the Steelers are going to make the Super Bowl.
Yes,
which
I
I'm
agree.
Like, God damn motherfucking
it's destiny now. It's
yeah.
Holy shit.
They're gonna beat the Chiefs in the goddamn AFC Championship, and I'd be going, motherfucking fuck.
They gotta have another 5 field goal victory in Kansas City.
Yeah,
I'll tell you.
18 to 14.
Alex
15
Smith
to 12.
Alex Smith isn't playing quarterback.
Right. That's a bit of a difference. Browns come in this week. We know they're right up against it. They can't lose again. I mean, they're basically out of it. Jameis Winston is coming off 496 yards passing, but
the most Jameis game ever.
He had two pick sixes.
2 pick sixes. Did you see when you add what he threw for, which was 497 plus the return yardage, which was like 171?
It was like right.
He threw for the most yards ever when you include the Broncos receivers he hit.
What do you guys think is the first thing to happen on Sunday? A Jameis pick six or a George Pickens personal foul call?
Oh, Pickens personal foul, 100%.
Wow, dude. That's an amazing question. Holy shit. I mean,
know. You got to figure both are probably coming.
God damn it. That is a really hard call.
Well, what's got to happen on Sunday, though? Because we saw these teams play, and yes, they played in a bit of a blizzard, whatever you want to call it. I don't think it made that big a difference. There were some just, boneheaded moves in that, and obviously Myles Garrett dominated. But what's got to happen this week, Scarps?
Well, similar to the first matchup, they came off an emotional victory. I know it's not the Ravens, but
true.
They came off a game that they won that they probably weren't supposed to win or weren't picked to win. Wow. I know a lot of people didn't pick them to beat Cincinnati last week. I think they just need to keep their emotions in check because this is essentially another Browns Super Bowl. And Kevin Stefanski is a good coach, and I'm not, I actually think all the coaches in the AFC North are pretty decent coaches. Yeah, all right, and I know Tomlin came across in Hard Knocks is probably the best of the bunch, but Kevin Stefanski is a good coach, and I can't say enough about it. The X factor to me this game is Jim Schwartz. He is a great defensive coordinator. He did pretty good that first game. Now, I don't know what the elements are going to be. Let's ask George Pickens what the elements are going to be because the Browns suck.
The weather, according to meteorologist Ian, is 49 and good.
Post Ian's coming.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, Matt. He did beat us from his basement, but he did. I mean, what the fuck? He wasn't there. The Steelers need to control and make the routine plays routinely and control what they can control. And this is a victory for the Steelers. I mean, that's no disrespect to the Browns because these are paid professionals. But if they don't win this game, if the Steelers don't win this game,
I'm not disagreeing. Ian, what do they got to do this week?
Yeah, it's like I said at the top of the show. This is the biggest game of the season because the rest of the year could go 2 completely different ways after this. That said, what they need to do is not be predictable. The game in Cleveland, yes, the weather was a little bit of a factor, but they were so predictable in what they were doing. Running every first down, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we'll use Justin Fields this time and he'll try and run the ball. And Cleveland went, just followed him. And Fields, after the Cincinnati game, gave one of the funniest quotes.
It was a great comment.
It was a great quote. He said, because he sealed the game with that third down run. And he was like, we pretty much only have one call when I'm in the game. I was kind of surprised they didn't follow me. And just left that open, and it was there.
All right.
So
he must have shit his pants when he saw the guy close down on the run.
Yeah, but Schwartz's defense did not do that at all. They keyed on Fields and basically said he's not going to beat us. So but what they can't do is be predictable. So they have to. That means you got to throw the ball on first down. If Jim Schwartz is once again going to sell out to stop the run, which weather being better, maybe he won't sell out to stop. Like the weather in Cleveland meant we had to run the ball a lot. So I understand him selling out to stop the run and saying, we dare you to beat us with the pass. But we're still going to have to beat them with the pass. Russ is going to have to be on his game. They're going to have to take shots down the field, especially on early downs. You can't get into second and long situations where, Arthur Smith does the same stupid thing of, okay, we failed on first down. Now it's second and long. We're going to run the ball so we can get into 3rd and 7 instead of being in 3rd and 10. But
he broke some patterns on Sunday, and I think that's got to continue.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing that worries me about this game is, and just being brutally honest, right? The Browns have nothing to lose, right? You saw it against Denver. Denver's defense was playing really well this year, and the Browns put up right. Hear me out here, okay? Last week on Monday night, right? The Broncos had been playing really good defense all year, and the Browns put up a lot of points and yards against them. And Winston is not a check down guy. Winston is I'm going to go for it kind of guy. And we talked about this with Anthony Richardson back when we played the Colts, that he's going to push the ball down the field. He's going to try and make big plays. And sometimes he throws interceptions, but that's not going to deter him. And the Browns have nothing to lose, so they have to go for it. They have to try and make big plays. So even if we get up in this game, that's not going to mean that the Browns are just going to pack it in. Winston's going to keep pushing the ball down the field and try and force things, which puts a lot of onus on our secondary to make big plays and on our pass rush to actually get home and get strip sacks and knock the ball out and force.
Yeah, because they did a good job against our pass rush. First time around. Ben, what do you need to see this week?
I need to see Russ continue to sprinkle the ball around to multiple receivers, as many as possible, get all over the place, not be predictable, as Ian just pointed out. But I need to see the DBs looking for Jameis to fuck up, because he's going to.
Yes.
He's going to. And I need them to capitalize on those opportunities and at least pick the ball off. Don't necessarily need like a pick six, although I think there might be one. But I think there are going to be multiple interceptions this week. And that when that happens, did you see Jameis's face after the game? I'm praying for the Lord to save me from pick sixes.
Yeah.
When he gets picked off, he's not going to be able to balance that against successes he's had this week. And it's going to get in his head. And it's going to fuck him up a little bit, in my opinion.
Yeah, it could.
So I need to see the Steelers take advantage of those opportunities.
I would agree.
And I need to see George Pickens be fucking smarter, which he's not going to do.
Keep his head on his shoulders. Yeah.
That's probably not going to happen. So not going to count on that.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I pick sixers are rare, and the fact that he had 2 last week, I would hope that Kevin Stefanski would talk to him this week and be like, "Listen, dude, let's figure this out."
The thing is that Jameis has been successful by taking lots of chances.
Yeah, I mean, that year he had 30 touchdowns. He had like 35.
Right, 33 and 30. I mean, that was him.
That's the thing. He takes lots of chances, and he creates opportunities for his team by taking those chances. But he also creates opportunities for the defense by taking lots of chances.
It's
fantastic if you're the defense.
Because I'm going to say something real quick. Because the Lions are playing tonight,
31-31 currently waiting the floor.
It is. And Ben always reminds me of the game that Mason Rudolph tied, because
16-16.
Well, that was a terrible fucking Detroit team, though. It's a good Detroit team.
Okay. But what I want to say about that is that even though the Browns aren't mathematically eliminated, the guys on the team, like they're getting a paycheck, they're professionals, and I go back to that Detroit game, and there was a guy that played that game that nobody heard of at that time, and it was Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he lit us up that game, and their running backs did too. So you got guys like off for the Browns like Njoku and Jerry Jeudy, and then you got Tillman as well. Nick Chubb is on his little redemption tour. Jerome Ford is capable. Again, they're professionals. I'm not saying I'm picking them, but I'm saying that like these guys are also fighting for jobs, right? They're not just fighting for jobs this year. They're fighting for jobs next year. So, I know a lot of Steelers fans are confident, and I'm confident too, and I'm going to pick the Steelers to win. I'm just saying that, this isn't as simple as Jameis is going to throw 3 pick sixes.
Right.
It's going to be a walk in the park.
I think he'll probably throw a couple of touchdowns and have 300 yards and throw 3 picks.
Just real quick to Matt's question about Mike Williams. I'll be honest. I would love to see Mike Williams come in, and if the only thing he does is run a bunch of go routes, I'm okay with that. Because once in a while they might actually not be able to cover him, but more than that, maybe it clears out and you get some guys underneath. Obviously you got to throw it to him at least once, because if you don't, then there's no sense in it. But
I don't understand why he can't get into the lineup. He's not getting many snaps, and he blocks pretty okay.
He seems to be, yeah.
He makes an effort. I know Calvin Austin knows the offense better, obviously, but why can't they play him a little more than? Why the fuck are we lining up Calvin Austin outside? This is my question.
Yeah,
why?
I don't.
Why?
Yeah. I did want to talk before we do predictions on the game. I did want to talk about something that was very prominent.
Yeah, Ben Skoranek does block better, Matt. Team
Skoranek all the way.
Dude, Skoranek. Oh my God.
Team Skoranek. Keep that kid in the game. Put him at H-back. Put him at receiver.
Put him
I don't
wherever.
care. Just let him block.
Just let him block corners and safeties and watch them fall.
Mm-hmm. But I wanted to mention this week something came up about certain people being quote unquote fake fans.
Like scarves.
There are fans out there who portray themselves as fans of a particular team when really the only reason they're doing it is to get likes and mentions and whatnot.
You mean like the thirst traps on Twitter?
Thirst traps. That's a good term. Yes.
Let's not steal all of Casey's thunder tonight.
I don't want to steal all of. I know it's coming up.
No, it's fine.
I know it's coming up, but I'll just relay a quick story of my own here. My aunt and uncle moved.
Yeah, you're right, Melvin. You are right. Snoop moved to fake fan.
Snoop is a huge fake fan. It drives me insane the way Steelers fans just love this guy. He wears every other team's jersey all the time. Oh, but I'm a Steelers fan.
He's a Steelers fan. Well, yeah sort of. He's kind of a part-time Steelers fan.
Snoop is the only guy. Snoop's the only guy I know that could do a Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile commercial at the same time.
That's true. I remember my aunt and uncle moved to Indianapolis back in the early 80s, and it was right after the Colts moved over to Indy, and they got me a Colts t-shirt, and I opened it for Christmas. I said, "What is this?" And they're like, "Well, the Colts, and I'm like, "No, I'm not wearing that. Why would I wear that?" I mean, I don't really talk to that aunt anymore either. But I don't. I just, it's like, what are you doing?
How old were you?
Like 13?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You're at that age where you're going to be like, I'm going to start talking back.
Well, yeah, exactly. But I was also at the age I knew who my team was. I just was like, and so when I see these people who, I'm all in on the Steelers, I'm all in, but then I see these receipts of them wearing, jerseys of other teams and everything.
When I hear anyone say my second favorite team is,
oh my God,
I'm like, you better finish that sentence with the Steelers backups or shut the fuck up.
No, the one acceptable answer to that is my second favorite team is whoever's playing the Ravens. That's fine. You can say
or
that.
Dallas,
right?
Or,
right.
Browns,
or a college team, because
I mean, college team. There you go.
Right. Like Ohio State or something.
Aaron's second favorite team should be Ohio State, but it's not. It's his first favorite team.
Right.
Fucking asshole.
Right. Spends more time on the Buckeyes, but see, that's what he gets then. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because there are certain individuals on social media who portray themselves to be one thing when in fact they really are not. Be careful of those people. As Ian called them, thirst traps. Yes. Predictions for Sunday's game. It is a 1:00 kick Sunday in the Steel City. And as Ian pointed out, the weather looks good for December football, right around 49 degrees. No
Windy?
Precipitation scheduled.
10 to 15.
Ian, what do you got?
A little gusty, not bad.
I will be at this game, so I'm very excited that the weather's going to be good. So I think, like I said, it's never easy with the Steelers, right? Winston's going to keep throwing the ball all over the yard. And maybe we get some picks. Maybe he throws some touchdowns. I think it's not going to be necessarily a shootout like Cincinnati was, but we're still going to have to score some points to win this game. It's not going to be, played in the teens like against the Ravens.
Right.
Ultimately, I think we are the better team. So I'll go Steelers 31, Browns 27.
Whoa! Holy
it's never
shit.
easy. It's never easy.
You're right. That lives up to it.
Tom, spot on. Heck yeah. High five for
Tom.
That
Ben, what do you got? Ben, what do you got for a prediction?
I think that the Browns putting up points and playing pretty respectably against the Broncos, who have a good defense, took the wind out of their sails. I also think that the Browns talked a whole lot of shit during and after that game to Steelers players because it was their big game of the season and they needed to play well. And I think the Steelers players remember it. And I think this is going to be a bare bottom spanking.
Ooh.
Going Steelers 31, Browns 10.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow. That is a bare bottom spanking right there. Scarps, what do you got?
It's not quite that, but it's a Steelers victory. I do think the Browns put up some points too. But I got the Steelers 30-23.
30 to okay, 7 points. What's the spread on this right now?
6.5.
Oh, it's 6.5.
Oh,
okay.
That's a cover.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead. I don't think we're gonna put up what we put up last week by any stretch of the imagination, but I do think we'll I think we're gonna put up 26, but I think the defense wants a little redemption from last week. And I think they'll play pretty good. So give me 26-16, the Steelers over the Browns. I believe it is now time for Mr. Casey Kasem to once again reemerge from the grave, ladies and gentlemen.
Shit. This is wonderful. Casey's Coast to Coast, American Top 40. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the week that was December 5th, 1999. Our favorite correspondent, Ryan, is back with us again this week, and he writes, Dear Casey, you and I know that we can't wait, and I swear it's not a lie, Russ. Tomorrow may be too late. You and I, Russ, we can share a life together. It's now or never, and we can't go 9-8. Casey, that's of course a parody of Boston's Amanda, which was number 14 this week back in 1986. By the way, Casey, congratulations. I saw Amanda Vance reply to your post the other day about her middle name being Casey. And she responded with twins. It's official. It's official. You guys are besties now. Casey, what's that old saying? Hell hath no fury, like a female Steelers fan not getting as much attention as Amanda Vance. Casey, it was a war zone on Steelers Twitter this week. I haven't seen so many people call someone a bitch, stupid, and tell them to kill themselves since yours truly told Antonio Brown that Ben got him paid.
Holy shit.
In all seriousness, there's no reason to be hateful online to Amanda because at the end of the day, you all post just as many thirst traps. Let's get back to the gridiron. Where I'm pretty sure the Bengals just gave up another 20-yard play. Casey, I don't know if I've ever seen a defense that bad. I know they didn't have Logan Wilson. They could have used Lady Wilson, though, who is, as the Commodores sang, a brick house. Shout out to Duck Hodges. He is truly blessed.
Wow.
It looked like the Bengals had 11 Helen Kellers out there. They were just shaking their heads and touching random objects to see if they were defending the right side of the field. At one point, Mike Hilton waved his hands so many times in disgust that even Stevie Wonder could see he was frustrated. Russ was locked in, wasn't he? He was more locked in than Jeffrey Dahmer after enjoying a couple of tall Budweisers and watching The Exorcist 3 while a victim was handcuffed to the bed.
Oh my God.
What the fuck? What the fuck? Oh my God.
Casey, I'm sick. I know this. Back to Russ. He's playing so well that even Ben Roethlisberger himself acknowledged that he texted Mr. Unlimited the other day to congratulate him. But what Ben didn't say was that he immediately texted Mike Tomlin after to say, put in Fields more, nobody will steal my sunshine. Well, Ryan, keep your feet on the ground and keep reaching for the stars and keep your radio tuned right where it is. Staying at number 11 this week, here's Len with Steal My Sunshine.
That was a
good one. Stellar Casey Kasem tonight on the show. Holy shit.
Wow.
Okay, I got to get my bearings here. Once again, thanks, everybody. We love you guys in the chat. You're absolutely amazing. You join us every single week here, and we could not be more grateful to all of you for being here. And, of course, thank you to everybody who listens and watches on your own. We love you as well. Please continue to tell your friends, tell your neighbors about the show. Get them to subscribe, all that great stuff. I mean, hey, Casey Kasem is worth the price of admission right there. Make sure you check out the site, steelcityblitz.com. And by the way, make sure you also check out Ian's Whippeal football coverage of high school. Ian, take it away.
Oh, yeah. So this weekend is the Pennsylvania State Championships. We've got two Western Pennsylvania teams playing, both on Saturday. Central Catholic playing in the 6A championship game against the New York, New Jersey, Maryland, Delaware all-star team of St. Joe's Prep out of Philadelphia that recruits kids from like 6 different states. So yeah, that'll be fun. And then Avonworth Public School playing again in the 3A championship game on Saturday afternoon against Northwestern Lehigh, who lost in the state championship game last year. So that should be a good one. Avonworth looking for their first state title in school history. Also, I should mention, so you can check out my Whippeal Blitz podcast. We did a state championship preview. So that's up on YouTube. Just search for it. You can find it. We'll do a yearly recap episode next week at some point. Right. I should also mention that Saturday is also a big football day in Pennsylvania, not only Western Pennsylvania specifically, not only with the 2 state championship games happening, And Penn State probably going to lay another goose egg against a top 5 team because that's what James Franklin does. But in the NCAA Division II, Slippery Rock and California are playing Saturday afternoon in the regional final for the right to go to the national Final Four in Division II. So another big game with a lot of local Western Pennsylvania kids playing on both of those teams. Slippery Rock a little bit north of Pittsburgh, California a little bit south. So both teams from the Western Pennsylvania area. One of them is going to go to the Division II Final Four. So that's pretty cool.
I was certain California was out west, but I'll take your word for it.
There's a California, Pennsylvania in the Mon Valley.
IUP, California. Yeah. Thought I'd be geographically challenged.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you to our wonderful sponsors, DEK Roofing Incorporated, and of course our brand new studio sponsor, Frank Walker Law. And of course, we're grateful to be part of the Variety Sports Network as well. And we will see you next week. Hopefully it's after a big Steelers win over the Brownies. And hey, go Steelers.
Ravens suck.